guess?
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual, even in a general average bullet hole frequency in Martinez sense. Meaning, this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see these days. The manufacturing and sale of automatic rifles was curtailed after the revolution. The destructive power of such tools proved to be too much. We do need to retain some humanity.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across a row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfold 10 meters away. Other shades are lined up in an orderly manner, automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. Droplets of rain fall on the wooden planks. The surrounding sand. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains. The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a mass execution with everyone fully armed. A host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in, they stand, facing the wall, It's impossible to ordinary people, familiar, comrades, the forsaken, the wretched, who tried to rise against the horrors of the world. 7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles, men of duty, dark murderers, twisted by orders, young boys forced into killing. The commandant, the one who gives the order, machine gun fire crackling through the air, the lights.
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict by the coalition. It could even have been the employees of the failed R&D center down the coast.
Or maybe...
Yeah, it's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were, to be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in...
A cold sea wind. A row of ghostly shades facing a crumbling wall. With another 7 shades, a cold... That patch of reeds over there, it's a great place to hide something. Kind of out of the way, being so close to the water. Nothing. Just a hunch. The hunch passes, leaving you there, by the old boy.
Go. Nice and easy. No way out, little...
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap.
Who's there?
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll hand... To what do I...
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your...
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881. You broke the water lock with a motor carriage. There was a billboard in the canal. Not a vehicle. It said Samaran Butter. Why? Scientist. Yes, okay. But you...
Did he say we can go?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon.
Sir,
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going. Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, and I suspect it may have also developed other specialised technique. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical, but I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolve, without studying a live specimen.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. You're beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this. A ghost insect, he said? These people are looking for a ghost.
No, that is precisely what we're not. I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoa, typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of my, of any, cryptozoology. Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information... Not yet.
Just out of curiosity,
I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid, yes, the most recent sighting. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location. I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable. Yes, the females don't need males to reproduce. Makes it easier for a species to survive in adverse conditions. Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed... Yes. Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls... At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course. But we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasion...
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also...
Not a big fan of skepticism, this one.
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait. Yes. What? And I'm eager to return to her. My wife understands that.
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch...
What? Let Lena down? Sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the phasmid somehow.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact.
Needless to say, you...
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course. No, no, no. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid...
He's dead set on this.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Well, be that as it may, I'd really appreciate the help. There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boat. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there. On your way to the old. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed. You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Is it?
If you think it's important, you have been right before.
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight. That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, it's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week. Wise choice.
I hope you're not buying this. It dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these...
Finally!
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more...
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you... But what if the information is vital? On the hunt.
I've just always liked animal.
He seems reluctant to talk about himself, but he'll open up, if you prod a little.
It's not child's play. Just because after traits real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. Indeed, my methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying. Everything from forgotten regional lore to news.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot. No, very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082, 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in, yes, the Chateauquan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate. And we cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. Indeed. If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will be...
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no...
Yes? All right. What cryptids
we would have to discuss. He wants... You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena.
A willow person. It's a long story.
Willow people? Not a...
They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees. They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. And you probably have. Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paint. It was a bright... After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees. I chased it with a net. Not very elegant.
A lavender shadow.
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to... Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light.
He makes it a real point here to sound falsifiable.
Confirmed. It's 100% verified and meets all the standards of an authentic... I see you've been talking about cryptids with Lena.
A warm wave passes him. Of course.
We travelled to South Safra to look for it once. Gary and I got stuck in a rainstorm. The search was fabulously unsuccessful. But the people were very nice.
What? South Safra? They're just on a different rung of the ladder, Morale.
Really?
They're a nascent culture. I just didn't feel comfortable. And let's change the topic, okay?
Yes, back to cryptozoology. You don't want to sow disagreement.
Formerly the most dangerous, yes. But
He doesn't want to make it feel like you knowing it is some big deal.
believe me, you won't guess it. You either know or... The most dangerous cryptid is a carnivorous ruminant, known colloquially as the dread moose. Yes, the dread moose subsists entirely on flesh. It has even been known to dig up fresh graves in search of sustenance. Human remains have been found deep in the forest, just like an ordinary ardent moose. You can't. That's what
A moose that looks like any other moose. What's going on here? He's kidding, right?
The bodies found in the forest are just one piece of physical evidence. There's more. The recent surge in the moose population has hidden carnivores. The dread moose are effectively removing competition for both themselves and their evolutionary cousins. The carnivorous moose are a very young species, the result of a genetic mutation. It makes sense that such a majestic animal with natural weapons and moose are already being hunted for sport. Moose are already being hunted for sport. One slaughterhouse at the outskirts of the moose would just stare at the building as though they were waiting for something, its eyes bloodshot. And that's not all. Some of the slaughterhouse apprentices went on.
This isn't something unique. Various species of deer have been known to scavenge when plant food is scarce.
Anyway, there is more than enough evidence to justify a thorough search for the...
Here is a man who has had more than his fair share of heated arguments and would, surprising as it may seem, prefer not to have any more.
Oh, everyone knows about that one. Thanks to Professor... Although, probably because her life ended as a result of her work in Gutler. No one remembers a flightless cursor owl found in the Seminine Isles. Its long legs permit the Nongok to run faster than any other avian, perhaps any other animal, who knows. When it's not hunting its prey in this manner, the Yok hangs from tree branches, like a bat. Mijanu liked extreme animals, you see. One of the few figures of the academicist, decades ago, in the 30s. I didn't know her personally, of course. The chasm of academic pretension. No offence, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go. Me? I'm not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. And I don't make a good lecturer, by all means.
I'm Gary. Yellow Man. I mean, Officer.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrows slightly. Yellow Man. Interesting. This is something to ask him about, after a little probing first.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization. I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here. Oh, I've been tempted. But someone has to stay strong.
He pronounces Revacol with a hard, serious question time. This man is no innocent. No one is.
I like to pronounce it the hard.
He winks at you, trying to relay some hidden message. It's a secret rite. A very fringe nationalist handshake, probably.
Oh, so that's what the RCM in
So you do.
No. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary. My mug? Why would you think that? How do you mean? Forgive me, officer, but we've only just met. Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away. You're not going to find me, are you? Okay, I deserve that. And I won't do it again. I don't know what got into me. Stuffing my garbage in.
What did you do?
Nothing. Just answering some questions. I know a guy who works with the trash collection services, CS Municipal. He gave me a master key so I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage. I'm sorry, okay?
Disgraced. No need for the histrionic, sir. It was...
He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer.
Officer, please. I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard. Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. I put them into the Whirling's trash, along with a broken mug. Admitted. Okay. I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well,
Right. It was just civic duty.
Exactly. That's exact.
As he shifts uncomfortably, a series of clicks, like the clinking of glass beads against one another as they roll across a hardwood floor.
What sound? I haven't the slightest. There's lots of weird stuff.
The sound you heard was not the sound of something easily abandoned.
What? Really? There's lots of weird stuff out here in the reeds, though. Insects, trash.
The sound you heard was not the sound of something easily abandoned.
Armor? No. I mean, yes. Of course. I hope I could help your investigation. In my small...
Does this mean you were in his apartment, admiring his colonial mug collection? Perhaps it would be interesting to tell him.
No. I help Morel with research sometimes, and I've learned some things along the way. But I don't usually go in for picnics like this on my own.
After all this time with Morel, he must have an opinion on cryptids.
Oh, yes, the burning rhino. Morel doubts he's a rhinoceros that looks ordinary during the day, but burns brightly by night. Well, they have special ducts just above their shoulder blades.
But how is this combustible?
The rhino starts running very fast to build heat, then stops, raises its head, and...
We don't really do that around.
Perhaps we should have more such decisive action in Revacol. You know, this city used to be a flaming rock. The flames are not just for decoration. During the burning rhino's mating season, local peasants call it the passion ring.
The lieutenant sighs. It's clear the burning rhino is dear to him on many levels, some even spiritual.
Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sail. I meant no offense. Truly, no. No problem at all. Sure do.
His eyes narrow slightly. He's wondering where this is going.
In my home. Yes. When I was going to... How did you know? Is this about the Union? Did the big man open the door? So you work for Everard Clare? Officer, please tell him we're good. No, what have I done? He'll send the muscle after me. What could it be about? I probably talked too loud. In the whirling. About some theories I had. Whatever it is, I'm done with it. I won't do it again. If there's...
This scared him proper. He's positively...
The weather vane has turned. He cannot be un...
He clearly liked his squirming. He may even have changed his mind about the whole door-opening operation.
Always I mean, officers.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was the deal. You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Heilostam. You must be Kim Kitsuragi, right? I was just telling my son about this.
Nice to meet you.
No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many...
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why?
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And
Hold on. What's R&D? It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth.
apologies, it's an acronym for research and development. They don't use it in. You're probably more familiar with art.
Mea culpa. You are not familiar with that one either. This man is a bookhead.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve? I'm mixing my metaphors here. It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building. An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering. Even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't indeed.
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed.
A pleasure wheel?
Perhaps reminded of a childhood memory. It's clear he would prefer they were a big wheel.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation. Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little...
Wait, is he saying that we should just bypass the excesses of the revolution?
Tape computers. They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases. The most notorious example being... What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revolution. It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying in.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this.
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking. 10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Hughes joined the team. Trying to...
Wait, did he just say? He did it. He said, Wumpty Dumpty. What the hell is a Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why they had... In fact, I'm not. The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for... But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The felt playback experiment vanished into the... Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sort... Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. But of course, what else? I do have some money, yes, but...
He's not gonna give you money. What are you... No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give you some.
Of course, Detective. I wouldn't have assumed anything else. Matter of fact, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the Vespertine Department of Justice has published a rather interesting paper on the criminal profiling in former socialist states. If not, then you definitely should. If not for tips and tricks, then just for theoretical curiosity. No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain.
Pick your brain? If anything, this was... You see, a once bright mural towering above a slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago.
Looks like tomorrow never came.
The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for dripping water falls from a high place. There's rust and corrosion on the bars. They're foaming with it. And
No, I won't even try. I had a partner once. They called him Eyes.
this partner of his, Eyes, things didn't end well. It saddens him to say his name. Don't even ask.
Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works.
A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it. You hear the tone. The machine is calling. Still, this feels wrong. End of tone.
Pierre, is that you, Pierre? So nice of you to find the time to call me. It gets so lonely. Even the animals have died. Are you sure you're Pierre?
Her voice is drowned in white. You get a sinking feeling. It makes you look if Lieutenant... Calling. Still again. Someone.
Hello, Gerard.
Hello, Gerard. Technically speaking, you're electricity.
No, but I got a feeling Al Kick Your Ass is gonna make an appearance if you ever call.
Phone. Disconnect. Tone. Calling.
Stop calling me, man. I'll get you your money, alright? I just need till tonight. Let me work. Tethys. Hey! You're not Tethys.
Disconnect. Calling.
I'm tired.
sounds like he hasn't talked to anyone in quite a while.
Writing. I hate writing so much.
The man, you do not hear the customary disconnect. Seems like it did not have time to swallow the coin. Lucky you. The call went too fast for the payphone to register. You can still make a new one without paying. You close your eyes and feel your finger move on the road, followed, but still calling, still. Time keeps. What were you? Home? He doesn't have a home. There's still some unused change in there. The machine waits for a number to be dialed. Weather has not been kind to Lily's little sandcastle. The once mighty towers are quickly eroding away. You can see something shining back to you from what must have been a vast...
The little castle? The reigning lord must have come upon some...
The walls and floors give way to the giant's greed, collapse and present you with a pair of ceramic...
Congratulations. That's the...
As you fold your fingers into a fist, you realize you could not. Your movements cause tiny little clicks, like dice rolling somewhere far away. As the plates reorient to your motions, the hardened vitreous enamel, at once sleek and light, adds a glow to your cheeks and a spring to your step. Just imagine what a full suit of this stuff could do for you. Two. Are you sure you're correct there? There was a helmet. It may be a while before you... Remember, this is a highly specialized kinetic redistributor meant for the day you have to fight someone covered in the same material. hold in your hand the colorful primer. The title reads, "A Primer for Small Kids." There's a bear involved. This book will show you the score, get you oriented. The alphabet. Every page has one word designating one letter of the alphabet with a faded illustration. A is for azimuth. B, H is for homeboy. I is for Q is for quasar. That's it.
Good.
It is a very useful skill to have. It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's barely held together by a clip, then made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. Yes, at last, you find a way to piece them together using the alphanumeric. Why, yes, every last alphanumeric in the Harrier Dubois, HDB. This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Coudon. Cause of failure. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes. True love is possible only in the next world. For new people call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for the graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the bell lettres have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. The case files do not show you finding the crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villa Lobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us. Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Or are we done? AKA Leslie and Burke, AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk, is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man, and you can't lock them away because public indecency and small-scale property damage are not punishable by incarceration. The only way for Leslie to stop flashing his genitals to bypassers and for Burke to stop dismantling signage and rear-view mirrors would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability on par with you ceasing to produce the expression. You would think that, but you're wrong. Where's the fun in exposing your genitals or breaking stuff in your own home? No. Leslie, can you keep yourself off threatening fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol, so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop, as they hadn't stopped for 10 years. It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a stand. Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. He must have it confused with the property he likes to damage. But the joke's on him. The officer is also drunk. Way more drunk than Burke there. And let's be in the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry, reports Leslie, who, at this point, is tending to Burke. He came at us, and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news, it can't get out of his apartment, an invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke, which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one? It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seems to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole in her skull, staring at the wall, her mouth agape. That's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, all you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. You never found the bullet. And then, who knows, those pages are missing. Don't worry. One day you may still catch the man with the square gun. Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung out on it. In the middle of the street, on the roof, on the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young, and they thought they looked cool on it. Insufferable dicks. Young people are the worst. So anyway, you got a complaint about they were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took it to where they also took photos of themselves on it and smoked cigarettes and drank coffee because cigarette butts, coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up, and you did. So No, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what is called a real goddamn job. You don't have time to be chasing down the couch assholes. You have a real job to do. What next? Murder. Tum tum tum. Beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner J.M., only initials mentioned, Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve, was doing it solo. Said it was Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains. No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, he'd been on it for, okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum-flavored vapor. Yeah, so anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of no one enters, no one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning. All noon, like Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin, movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter. See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply, and you don't notice it until you get up to go to the bathroom. Yeah, he liked his hookah. Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Trying to come up with a movie script, maybe. Anyway, not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard.
Yes?
The note is written. It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cat. The two sides of the board appear slightly misaligned, like a drawer that's come off its slides. If you bend... the slides snap back into place. It should be possible to, without resistance or sound. 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard. Two octopuses are smiling, reaching their tentacles toward each other in the colored pencil drawings. The tickets permit access to the zoo in Revachol East. The thin wax paper has been glued to a piece of cardboard. Sounds like leaves rustling when you pick it up. You see violet flowers. It smells of chewing. A touch of cinnamon, the end of summer. You think the label says Tutti Frutti. Familiar handwriting lines the inside of the card. A young woman in her 20s. There is care, effort, and a smile. Harry, it begins. You're already reading. I wanted to write you a letter so you can read it when you wake up. Throw it away, please. Your hand shakes holding the card. Every morning when I step out and you're asleep behind me, every step I take, it grows. By the time I reach the fuel station, it has filled me entirely. I step onto the light rail and look back. Spark, you. Every step I take will get lighter. It almost makes me run. Sometimes I do. I can't believe I met kisses, kisses, kisses. You feel the air sucked out of your lungs and the blood sucked out of your... Sparks fall like snow from the bow collector. You feel the ledger slip from...
There is nothing. Well, almost nothing. There is the ground below. That's me. Blue eyes. Is it?
A bitter, caustic sense of loss remains. Even here in the Paleomammalia, because it's always there.
Tell him.
Ah, yes. In the olfactory system, they call it the apricot chewing gum scented one. It's a... It didn't smell nice. It smelled like betrayal.
Yeah, man. What was that about? Your name?
It's certainly your name is passed out on the
Bloated corpse of the past.
beautiful.
There is no Voyager Road. There are no roads. You think they would let you? Until you disintegrate into biomolecule.
Oh, but you are.
It's the glowing lights on a dashboard emerge out of nothingness. In the upholstered cabin of Lieutenant Kitsuragi's motor carriage, see...
Drink. Water.
The water is cold, silvery, the stuff of life itself.
Drink. You haven't drunk water in 2 days. Did you know the human body is not made to survive on alcohol alone? You need a secondary form.
With greedy gulps, You down half a liter of cold water.
What happened? You were reading your paperwork. 10 minutes, maybe. That does sometimes happen.
He replies with such understanding, it's as if the burnt-out ruins.
You dropped these. Are you okay to proceed? Good.
The Ledger of Failure and Hatred is a special item that can be used both.
A motor carriage, in white on blue, police livery. Do something important? Something murder-related? Even at a standstill, the unibody Caprice Kanema looks someone has waxed it recently.
Mm-hmm. You want to take a closer look? 100
I reckon that's a 7-liter V12 there.
7.2. Supercharged.
Saying these words brings him immense.
Yes. An extraordinary machine.
Helium headlights it's a bit girly right now. Fitted with some proper off-road components.
Actually, I have a pair at home. Just haven't gotten around to... Maybe.
And means no.
Yes?